You ever get life advice from someone who's clearly never done the thing they're preaching? Like a financial guru, living in their mum's basement? Or a mindfulness coach who flips out in traffic? Yeah, that. Currently, we're investigating the activity of teaching and asking a very specific question. What constitutes zero teaching? That is, exactly what conditions need to be in place for true teaching to occur. No, not just some guy talking, but the real transmission of knowledge from teacher to student. Real progress, real understanding. Let's zoom out for a sec. Over the last many episodes, we've been constructing something called Zero-Buddhism, the conditions needed for the Buddhism activity to arise. And after the last episode, we've settled on these three. First, we need an enlightened teacher, someone who currently realizes infinite mind. Second, we need a clear path to the goal of Buddhism, a clear path to the realization of infinite mind. And last, we need an understanding of the obstacles expected along the way. And in this episode, we are zooming back into the first requirement, setting aside the notion of enlightenment and asking a more general question. What conditions are necessary for any generic teaching activity to occur? So, to get things started, here's a list to consider, one with 4 conditions. First, you need an engaged source, someone who has knowledge and is willing to do whatever it takes to pass it along. Second, you need a serious quester, someone who is seeking knowledge and is willing to do whatever it takes to gain it. Third, you need alignment, some agreement on the nature of the knowledge, both being presented and sought. And finally, you need a conducive environment, one in which the time and place for the teaching activity to occur are clear. So, still pretty abstract. Let's take an example. How about a young boy wanting to learn the martial art of jujitsu? Clearly, we are looking at an example of the teaching activity. But rather than walk through each of the 4 requirements, we may just want to ask a few questions. First, will the boy be able to learn jujitsu from a sword master? Next, will the boy be able to learn jujitsu from a jujitsu master who is not interested in teaching young boys? Will the boy be able to learn jujitsu when, truth be told, he really wants to learn karate, and it's his parents who want him to learn jujitsu? Will the boy be able to learn jujitsu if he never does what the teacher asks? Will the boy be able to learn jujitsu when classes are held in the school gym at the same time that the school basketball team practices? Will the boy be able to learn jujitsu if it's not clear when the happy-go-lucky teacher is being serious or just playing around? And so, hopefully we get a better sense of the teaching activity, that just calling something teaching doesn't necessarily make it so. Can we now sum this up? In a nutshell, a teacher is an activity. And recalling the principle of zero, we recognize that as an activity, it naturally cycles between zero teacher and manifested teacher. And that a manifested teaching can only occur when 4 conditions are present: an engaged teacher, a serious student, an agreement on the subject, and a conducive environment. That's it. Without all 4 conditions, there may be some activity that arises, but we just can't call it teaching. Period. And now that we have a better understanding of the teaching activity, we can proceed to the concept of an enlightened teacher. And so, for the next episode, we ask the question: what constitutes an enlightened teacher?